All right, I think we're waiting for Mayor Bowser.
I see her PR person's on the phone. Is that right? Is that they're trying to track her down?
Just a few more seconds.
Yeah.
She's around here. Yeah.
All right, so I'm actually shocked by this. I thought this was just sort of for formality. Obviously, if they were ever going to be able to build on the RFK site, this was a formality they would have to overcome.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always been under sort of the idea that you're still going to have to outbid.
Yeah.
But Rick comes on here and kind of shatters my notion of it. And he's been my leader on this because he said for years he thought they were just going to build it right next to the current stadium. Yep. And it would probably stay in Maryland. But now he's saying, like, Maryland's got no money.
Yeah.
They're not going to have to maybe pony up anywhere near what we thought they might.
Can DC just keep giving these owners money? I mean, give Ted a bunch of money to keep the Caps and Wizards here in DC.
Yeah, I think Rick thinks they're not going to have to because Virginia's out of the equation, it seems like.
Yeah, we haven't heard of Virginia.
Maryland doesn't, according to Rick, Maryland's like underwater.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they're not going to have to match some $1 billion offer.
Maybe it's the only spot that makes sense financially.
And the good thing is, it tugs on everyone's heartstrings.
Yes.
Everybody would love
Commanders fans want it to be back
to go back to RFK. To that site. Now, I'll tell you, I drive by that site a lot. And I mean, it is a dilapidated dump.
Of course, yeah.
They gotta,
But just think about if they did decide to build it there, how awesome it would look with a brand new stadium.
People are
bars
suggesting
and restaurants.
It could be like a new Navy Yard. Now,
correct.
It's pretty spectacular what they've done around here. Now, I still think around here it's crazy. There's wildness that goes on around here.
There's some dicey areas still, yeah.
But just from aesthetics, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
Well, also, I was thinking a lot about this when I was at the Army-Navy game. Because, logistically, it's kind of a nightmare. Because you have, lines for the bathroom that are intersecting with lines at concession with people that are trying to get to their seats. And
you're just saying the design of the stadium.
The design of the stadium is outdated.
Mm-hmm.
There needs to be more cashless options all around the stadium. It needs an update. It needs a facelift, especially with the infrastructure inside.
All right, is the mayor on? All right, there we go. We finally got her.
So we got Muriel
Supposed to have her
Bowser.
a couple of weeks ago, but now, there's just too much going on.
Now she finds time for us. Hey, Mayor Bowser.
Yes.
How are you? Happy holidays to you.
Thank you, and to you.
And so just kind of break this down for us, because now there's a provision to this spending bill. It's way over my head, but there's this provision in the spending bill that was going to be voted on later this week that would transfer control of the land from the federal government to the DC government. So talk about how important this is.
It's huge. So when I've been on to talk to you before, I emphasize we got to get control of the land. We got to get control of the land. We've had a lease for many years. We have 14 years left on the lease, and it's restricted. It can only be used for sports or recreational uses. This transfer gives us complete control over the land to develop in the way that serves district residents. And creates connections to the park. 30% of the land will be used for a park. So this just allows DC to control our destiny as it relates to 177 acres that's now blighted in the nation's capital.
And it's going to be voted on later this week, correct? That's what the story says.
Yes,
okay.
It's a must-pass bill. This is actually a bill that has many hundreds of millions of dollars of spending. It keeps the government open. It's a continuing resolution and very few attachments, but our RFK legislation is one of them.
All right, explain to me why this is such a game changer for you, because I actually thought this was just a formality. But then because I always just figured, okay, to do this, they're going to have to obviously get that provision so that they have, right to the property or whatever. But at the end of the day, you're still going to have to come up with a bunch of dough that you're not going to either have or want to come up with. So why is that not still the case?
Well, when you say dough, you mean a deal with the team?
I mean money. Yeah, money to attract them, because you're going to have competitive offers from Maryland, presumably.
There's no site that can compete with our site. It's just that simple. We
financially
have the best site in the region. We have the best site in the region. period. And when you think about the connections, the transportation connections, the connection with the river, the views, the support from the fan base, we have the best site. And it's really just that simple. And so when we are able to look at how we do the ancillary development around what might be a new stadium, we know we get housing, we get entertainment district, we get a park, and we get more jobs for DC residents and for the entire region. So it's going to be a beautiful vision that we look forward to sharing with the community.
All right. So if it's voted on later this week and it passes, then what exactly is the next step?
The next steps are we will proceed with demolishing the current site. We will proceed with developing our vision, having discussions with the team, community, and our stakeholders. And we will aim to have an agreement with the team.
So this is a big deal, man.
It's a very big deal.
Yeah.
What is the time frame where you feel like you could get a commitment from the team?
From Josh Harris.
Well, I always think we should do things yesterday. I think they have a very significant time crunch. They have a lease in. Josh Harris has stated publicly he'd like to be in the stadium by 2030. And in order for all of those things to happen, I think that we have to have an agreement this year.
Wow, this year. So you're saying in 2025. You're not saying 2024.
2025.
Yeah.
2025.
You've been very busy. You got a lot of stuff going on with these sports teams. We talked to you about. We do.
Ted Leonsis. You know what happened yesterday? We got our final vote on my monumental sports and entertainment legislation. And as soon as I get the bill from the council, I'll be signing it. They'll be going to close and getting to work on transforming our Cat One Arena. It's going to be an amazing downtown development, and we've already seen kind of the bounce back in the downtown, and we're really proud that Monumental Sports is going to be our partner until at least 2050.
I mean, you're revitalizing that, and then you possibly can get the Commanders at the RFK site.
And then
that's huge.
Yeah, it was a big sports day, the biggest, the big turnaround from last year this time.
Right. But it's quite a comeback if you're able to actually pull it off. Do you envision it being like, because others have suggested, like another Navy Yard in that area? Do you have the acreage and the ability to do that?
It's larger than that. And so think about some of the large federal parcels like the Wharf, Navy Yard, Walter Reed, St. Elizabeth's. It's larger than that. So the answer is yes. If you're thinking about, are we going to have entertainment, restaurants? We will have more sports uses. We already have ball fields there. We will have a DC Parks and Rec indoor sportsplex there. And we will have a park that connects to the Anacostia River. So like the Wharf enliven the Potomac River and really underutilized waterfront, that's what we know that a development at RFK can do in the Anacostia River.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Great job, and good luck on everything else.
And we will pull it off.
You sound very confident.
I'm not going to bet against you at this point.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Don't bet against me. Thank you. Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right.